Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Last week, my family and I took a quick trip to London to meet the settlement criteria, as airlines only allow women to travel during their second trimester of pregnancy. It had been nearly 2 years since I last visited the UK. My business trip planned last summer back to the UK was cancelled last minute due to internal restructuring / cost saving initiative. With our rental coming to an end and a big move ahead, our home was already packed up, including my lighting equipment for filming. Hopefully I can show you our new flat very soon. We only had 3 days in London, mainly because I wasn't able to walk long distances. Luckily, the weather was absolutely stunning, unusually warm and stunning for this time of the year. I remember even snowing in May sometimes, but not this time. Unfortunately, our luck didn't extend to everything. My son developed a high fever on the flight from Shanghai to London. For those familiar with the NHS, you will know how tricky it can be to get medical attention in the first few days, unless symptoms meet certain criteria. He seemed fine on the first night, so we took him to Hyde Park and the Natural History Museum to see his beloved dinosaurs. But by the second night, his temperature spiked to over 39 degrees centigrade, and we had to stay in the hotel the entire next day. By the third night, his fever still hadn't subsided, so I called NHS 24 to check if we could visit a hospital. Since we were flying back to Shanghai the next evening with a long flight ahead, the GP recommended we visit an urgent care center before departure. After a 2-hour wait at the closest hotel to Heathrow, the doctor prescribed amoxicillin, which gave me some relief before our journey home. Our original plan for the last day was to take a hop-on, hop-off bus around London before heading to the airport. The first part of the ride was wonderful. Central London was as vibrant as ever, with crowds enjoying their Saturday. But as we neared Piccadilly Circus, our bus was stopped by a parade. We ended up stuck in front of Hamleys for half an hour. Then, near Westminster, we found out that a protester carrying a Palestine flag had climbed up Big Ben's Elizabeth Tower, blocking the road. Is this kind of thing normal now? Let me know in the comments. Back when I lived in London, I stayed mostly in Zone 6 and rarely made a long trip to the city centre on weekends. This time, though, we had no choice but to abandon the bus tour and take the tube instead. My son had his heart set on visiting the Diana Memorial Playground before our flight, so we made a quick stop there. But you know how kids are. No matter where they go, they just love playing with the same things. He spent his last 20 minutes in the central London, happily playing in the sand with his dad before we rushed to Heathrow. Once we landed back in Shanghai, we took him straight to the hospital. An X-ray confirmed he had pneumonia, something we couldn't have diagnosed in London. So now, my poor little boy is on an IV drip of peroxide sodium and has to take a month off from his favorite swimming class to let his lungs recover. Despite all this, he still had a great time in London. He loved the new Elizabeth line, enjoyed the Heathrow Express, and appreciated the few places he managed to visit. As for me, I'm just relieved his fever didn't turn into something more serious. Though the doctors in Shanghai weren't too pleased that we didn't get him checked sooner. That's our little London adventure. Thanks for listening, and see you again in another 2 years, London.